r/AskReddit. Awenro says, people who are chronically late, what's up with you? Definitely not. Panda says, I'm almost never late, but I'm always right on time and people hate it. But I refuse to wait, just because I'm early. Thicket from Hotaru says, my one black friend that's late to everything calls it CPT colored people time lol. Will _right_for_ Takus says, my Islander cousins and friends call it Islander time. The closer they are to having lived on the island, the later they are going to be. Let's say I want my cousins to be here at 5 PM. I tell them 4 because they are always an hour late. Their parents? I'd tell them 3 PM to get them here on time. Their parents? Don't bother, they might get out the door around 6 or 7 PM. Kaleidoscope with 310 says, the Navy taught me that early is on time, and people who are late make me crazy. Throwaway _7,267,382 says, build 4 night shifts, but work morning shifts. Vine Dillion says, I'm a horrible judge of how long it takes to get somewhere or do something. In my defense, I'm late about as often as I'm early, which drives my family even more nuts than just being consistently late/early. I just have a really shitty sense of time, I guess. Anajo says, no respect for the people around me. Jane is in danger says, EP. Teeth Trap Toyota says, I'm only late for the non-important shit. Work, picking something up at a specified time etc. fishing. Never late for fishing. Dinispika Photo says, late people. On time people hate you. It's selfish and disrespectful to constantly make people wait on you because you can't get your shit together. Grow up and leave earlier. Hera 4 Questions says, one of the things to keep in mind is that not every appointment is conveniently made for the customer or patient. You take what you can get. I've got an appointment coming up that's 15 minutes after I have to pick up my BF from college. We share the same car, and I know traffic will dictate if I'm late. But it's the only appointment time I could get that isn't months out. And not everyone has a brain that's perfect at managing every little thing in life. ADT is hard to manage, and you wouldn't understand unless you have it. You're fighting for control over your brain all the time. I'd say I'm late about 50% of the time and way too early the other 50%. And I'm trying equally every time not to be late. I value people's times, and I know the consequences of arriving late, and I hate myself every time I do. But I have no idea how people manage their time perfectly every time. You guys must be blessed with great cognitive ability and or have an easy schedule. Roosterno 3701 says, I have severe ADD, and I have managed my symptoms down to a 5-minute window. I used to be way worse. 15 to 20 minutes late was average. Eventually I stopped learning to blame my thought patterns and hyperfixations. There were times I'd get so wrapped up in work or hobbies I wouldn't even look at a clock for hours. I just eventually realized I need to use my phone alarms for any appointments or deadlines. I have like 20 to 30 timers in my phone I can activate at any given time for expected routine events now lol. Loud Vacation 711 says, they believe their time is worth more than yours. Aramis says, we don't really know how time works, that's what happens. 20 minutes to have a shower, get dressed and have dinner? Of course I can do that, I can't. Houstonieri Problem says, I'm very optimistic. Poor Decisions Normad says, AD that got severely worse over the pandemic and caretaker fatigue. Electrictsis says, I'm terrible at predicting how long things will take. It's less of a problem for routine events, since they require routine prep, that I'm better at timing. But if I attend something that requires prep that isn't part of my normal routine, I get halfway through my prep and realize it's nearly time to leave. I can either show up on time and unprepared, or late and prepared. Primapillus crastinus says, part of my culture. Eusotherus Thiscut says, add and anxiety. I've gotten better about it over the years and I try. But the honest answer 99% of the time to why was I late is add and or anxiety. r/AskReddit. Sophia the Queen says, when did you realize you married the wrong person? Edora 125 says, probably about 6 months into the marriage. I don't think it was anything in particular, but a lot of little things. I realized I wasn't attracted to him, and I had convinced myself I was. I had gotten married just to get married. I stayed for 7 years because I figured I had to try. The final straw was when I was about to buy concert tickets for his favorite band. I was adding to the cost plus a hotel. I stopped and realized he would never even think of doing the same. There was also once when his friend stayed the night. My ex had an early shift, so I made breakfast for his friend and I. His friend just hung out in the kitchen talking while I cooked. It was nice. I never had interest in his friend, but it was nice having someone to just talk to while I cooked. My ex would game on his computer while I cooked, come to eat, and go right back upstairs. After the divorce, I eventually got my guy who I enjoy being around and likes to talk while I cook. Philomath Courtier says, when he put his hands on me, there was such a terrifying rage in his eyes that I can't ever unsee. Not_Jim3 says, oh shit, I'm married. Rainafla says, wasn't married but dated 4 years, and when I realized everything Jet told me was a lie, just so he could be with me, then started making fun of me, just to see me cry and make more fun of me for making me cry. Traditional_show 8121 says, when I realized he was never going to prioritize anyone before himself, including his child. Sereniakut says, it was approaching our 8th wedding anniversary, 13 years together total. I realized we barely interacted anymore. Work was everything to him. Work and sex. Romance was transactional. He would be romantic, or buy gifts on calendar occasions, and expect sex as a thank you, but we didn't have any ongoing affection. His expectations in the bedroom was right out of porn and not reality. And anything I was unhappy with was written off as a symptom of my mental illness. We get along as co-parents, and he gets along with my second husband. I lost a fair bit of respect for him over the years, especially with seeing how his mum runs his life and our kids. Mom's special friend says, there were a few moments, but I really knew when he insisted on opening our marriage. Professional_U8605 says, when he started to hit me. Knock me all over says, when he came out as gay almost 25 years into the marriage. Don't get me wrong, I still love the shit out of his ass. I just wish he'd come out sooner, rather than proceed our entire adult lives thinking he was straight. If he had come out sooner and we'd divorced earlier, which when I brought it up years ago, after a fight, he was adamant that we stay together, I might have had a chance at finding someone who was attracted to me. Now, fugit about it. I'm a middle-aged troll with no prospects, and all the guys I've met so far who are single also just want to have casual relationships or FWBS, not actually dive into a relationship with someone. Or they want a new mommy to help raise their kids, which I've done raised my kid, and I'm not interested in raising anyone else's. I want to find someone to be happy again, but I don't have a lot of hope it'll happen. Windacitifen7 says, when she told me she was now too old to go back to college and get a degree, meanwhile I worked 14-hour days in high-stress finance and the sole provider for a family with 2 kids in middle school. It was at that time when I realized I'd ed up. The divorce was a double whammy, but not being married to that loser is a step backwards to go forward. Ashraf08 says, when I caught her, frick, I'm my brother. But Tracho says, dated for 5, was married for 5 more. I had a gut feeling quite early on, but when she stopped caring about me at all. We were living like roommates for a bit, and then eventually she was taking trips to various cities across the country that were supposed to be for work. I knew something was up, so when I confronted her after a week she was away, she straight up told me that yes, she's been there a week, but hasn't done any work. I'm very glad we didn't have kids. The divorce was a shit show, but I know I'm much better off without her. A year after the divorce she has already remarried and had a kid. Madragula Barada says, same evening. I really wish I had had the courage to just get an annulment the next day. Sweet 303 says, when she after years of unemployment finally got a low pay job, stopped to search for a better one and ended up, frick, eyeing her colleague while I worked my ass off to get a better life for us and our kid. Fabulous says, did I marry the wrong person? Or did I need the experience I had with that person to be able to move on? Blocked_prime says, well, more like I'm not a person who should have married. Undiagnosed mental illness, troubled home life, severe depression, extreme emotional sensitivity to negative events, conflicting immediate life goals. Shit like this, that should have come up in the meeting with the priest with the right questions. Or any adult with common sense and the couple's best interests at heart. Life is the only teacher that sticks around. Unfortunately it also never lets up when you need a break. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.